Hello, everyone. Welcome to another beer review. back, back in the old set. See, I banged my bloody head as I came in here, nearly took the bloody scalp off me. Damn, that was a sore one. Jesus, I forgot to bend down as I'm coming in, and oh yeah, banned. But anyway, today we're on a Yorkshire beer. So we are, and it's a blonde ale. So we're from the Ossett Brewery, if I remember rightly, yeah, Ossett Brewery, and it's the Yorkshire Blonde. Woohoo, yes. Hopefully this will be a nice one. Because I've had a wee week off, not because I actually planned to have a week off, it's just because I had so much things going on down here and up in Scotland, and I was back and forward and everything. I just didn't have the time to basically get one edited and put out. So I thought, well, I'm allowed the odd little break now and again. So we've got flat caps. Look, they've got flat caps. Now, let's see what they've got. Oh, they've got a bit of spiel about the brewery, and they've got a bit of spiel about the actual beer itself. And the beer itself is 3.9% per volume, 500ml. I'll put down the price because I can't quite remember it because I'm old and I'm dithery and a bit stupid as well, you see. So let's see what they say about this. So, a progressive and passionate independent brewery located in the heart of Yorkshire. Born of family values, unity, teamwork, and integrity. Crafted over 2 decades, we've perfected the science of producing ales of consistently high quality and honed the art of brewing beers that are loved by all, apparently. By all, you know. Even if you haven't tasted it, you still love it. It's amazing that. I mean, I didn't even know I loved it. And I haven't even tried it. But apparently, they say it's loved by all, so that must include me and you. Hey, utter shit. Anyway, took a bit fucking piss. Don't get me started. Oh, here we go now. Here we go. Here's about the beer now. It's all happening, eh? This beer pays homage to our stunning Yorkshire heartland, the inspiration behind everything we brew. This pale ale is full-bodied, well-rounded, and slightly sweet on the palate. A generous addition of Mount Hood hops late in the boil results in a delicate, fruity aroma. And it contains water, malted barley, malted wheat, hops, yeast, allergens in bold, may contain oats and rye. And there you go. That's it. That's as good as it gets. So it wasn't too much piss about the actual beer, but there was plenty going on about the brewery. Oh, it's all family values, isn't it? Eh? Can't be a bit of incest. there's some family values for you. Eh? Oh, I love my sister. Anyway, what the hell? I'm on an old. God, get up there, you bugger. Bottle opener, because they've nicked all my bottle openers. Took some to Scotland, obviously. But I've come back down there. Where's my bottle openers? I don't know. I think the boys took them. Jesus, you turn your back. That's him going. Grab his bottle openers. You buggers. Right, stackable. Bottle. Pour. There we go, eh? Look at that. So, Jesus God. They're referring to it as a pale ale, but they call it also a blonde as well. So there you go. So it's a blonde pale ale, apparently. Or maybe it's a pale ale blonde. That's what it says. Yorkshire Blonde. Pale Session Ale. There you go. Well, it's a wee bit cloudy for people in the podcast. So, that is me, by the way, but it's my shoes. But anyway, what the hell was that? It's off the edge of the chair, you know. Rubber on metal, you know what it's like. But anyway, for people in the podcast, it's a very kind of light, kind of straw colour, very pale straw colour, slightly cloudy, as you can see. There's about maybe just slightly over a half finger head. It's kind of going down a little bit, but I would think it was just a little bit more than a half finger head when I poured it. Smell wise, Getting light malt, and that's it. Am I picking up any fruity aromas? No. Oh well. That'll disappoint my inner gorilla, then, won't it? With the lack of fruit in the aroma. I'm about to get cramp on my knee, so now I just stretch my blooming knee. Jesus, I'm doing well today, aren't I? Jesus. I've had a bumming headache all day. And then there you go. Twat my head as I come into the bloody place. But anyway. No. No. Just malt, that's all I'm getting. Light malt. Really lacking in aroma. So there you go. Whoa. Right, let's see what it tastes like. Well, it's light in aroma, and I would say it's quite light in flavour as well, actually. The point I would say it's maybe a little bit watery. Yeah, it's not exactly busting with flavour. There's a little bit of sweetness there. It's got the same kind of flavour intensity as a cheap supermarket Lemsip copy. You know, it's not the Lemsip, it's a Tesco's own make or Sainsbury's own make or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it feels like, you make it up and you're thinking, oh yeah, it kind of tastes like Lemsip, but it's a bit watery. And it's like this kind of tastes like an ale, but I mean, the flavours of what there or are there aren't too bad. Bit gassy for a sessionable, but anyway. But what I'm getting is the flavours aren't too bad, but the intensity just isn't enough. Although I would say it's slightly above a lager, so I mean that's how kind of weak the flavours are. They're a wee bit above the level of a lager on that basis, but you would expect them to be a bit stronger. But yeah, I suppose it's okay. It's not too bad. It's not the worst. Maybe a little bit of bitterness at the end. So there is, which isn't too bad. They could ramp that up a little bit. I mean, just it's like everything just feels it's like dialed down. I'm not going to fault the flavours because the flavours aren't actually too bad. Just need to be dialed up a little bit. Now I can understand it's supposed to be sessionable and everything else as they're saying in the bottle, but what I would say is that there's room to dial the flavours up and it still be sessionable. And I think that's the kind of biggest disappointment with this beer. Because yeah, the flavours aren't actually too bad. They're not complex in any way, which again is another thing you would expect for a more sessionable ale, is less complex flavours, quite kind of standard generic, but you still expect a nice intensity and a nice balance from front to back. But yeah, it's just dialed down a little bit too much. But again, it might be different in cask, because sometimes if you make it for the cask, originally, and you get it right, then of course obviously if it transfers to the bottle, you kind of lose something. You always lose a bit to the bottle than you would from the cask. Well, that's what I've always found anyway, and maybe that's why the transition, if they were initially doing it in cask and it's transitioned over to the bottle, then yeah, there's a good chance they've maybe lost something in the process, in the transition. But yeah, let's break down these flavours. Right. Starts off with very light malt in the front of the mouth. You get a little bit of grain, but not much, and a little bit of sweetness. It's not a bad level of sweetness, but again, all the flavours could do with being notched up, you know, 2 or 3 times, But when it moves on to the mid tongue, it feels like I'm getting little lemony tones. That's what I'm talking about, lemsip. You're starting to get these bitter accents in the mid tongue, just light bitter accents. And as part of that, with a little bit of sweetness and the light malt, just slightly giving you kind of ever so slight kind of lemony tones. And I'm not saying it actually tastes of lemony tones, or tastes of lemon, but it just gives you that impression of slightly lemony because of that. But there's no feeling of citrus. It just slightly, it's like that. I mean, like tasting a lamb sip, it doesn't actually really taste of citrus, even though it's got citric acid in it, but it's just, yeah, you put your vitamin C. It's a bit like that. It's just the level of the bitter tones, and just as with the sweetness and the malt, it just slightly kind of gives you that kind of impression that it's slightly lemony. And then the flavours kind of start to kind of tail off towards the back end of the mid tongue, and the sweetness kind of starts to kind of drop quite quickly into the aftertaste. The same as so does the malt, and that's where you just get these kind of little bitter accents just ramping up a bit. As the sweetness and everything else comes down, it's kind of giving more intensity to them. So that's where you start to get more of a bitter finish to it, which is fine. That's not a problem. I do like a bitter finish, but it just feels that just not enough intensity in the flavour. Also, mouthfeel, I would say, just ever so slightly, for this type of ale, it's just ever so slightly a little bit more carbonation than really needed. And again, maybe that's affecting it as well. So the mouthfeel just isn't quite right. It should be a little bit dialed down with the carbonation a bit, and the flavour intensity dialed up a bit. And it's just that, it's that little fine tuning just needed to just kind of turn this into a kind of mediocre beer into, this is quite a nice beer. But what I would say though, I'll probably take this over, like say a standard lager that you would get in the UK, kind of all these different kind of variants, including the the macro lagers and all this type of stuff. I'd still take this easily over that, but it's kind of similar and it's kind of vain because it is very, very light. So what would I give this out of 10? I mean, the flavours are quite nice. It's just not strong enough, like I said. And the mouthfeel just ever so slightly awkward, just slightly too much carbonation in it. And yeah, price wise, again, I don't know what the price is. I would expect it to be roughly up to about £2 a bottle, or ever so slightly over, but I wouldn't expect it to be anything more than that. But of course, obviously, I'll put that down. If it is more than that, then it'd probably lose. But if it's round about the kind of £2 mark, slightly over, slightly under, I would probably give this a 5 as the best I could do it. If it's quite a bit over the £2 mark, then yeah, I would probably knock half a point off and take it down to 4.5. So it's 4.5 if it's over, well over £2 a bottle. But if it's round about the £2 mark or below, then I'm going to give it a 5. But yeah, it's decidedly kind of mediocre on average, just because even though they've got some nice flavours and the balance isn't too bad. It's just lacking intensity. It needs a bit more flavour. That's it. It just needs it dialed up. But yeah, but overall, it's actually not too bad. But yeah, a bit disappointing. But anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers, and bye for now.